Ladies and gentlemen, so today we have had the first ever debut of a challenge that extends kind of a little bit further than usual to that epic / uncollected level of difficulty, and the rewards, man, are so insane, especially for the time invested. If you've kind of got a fairly decent roster, because I don't think this one is overly difficult in terms of a lot of the fights. I think kind of the big one is making sure you're aware of what's going on with the nodes and fights and bringing and building the right team to sustain and kind of get through the final chapter. So we're going to be talking about all the best options and kind of everything you need to know before jumping into this, but just to go over the rewards, man, for completion and exploration of the entire thing are kind of one in the same. So just for the completion, man, getting it done, 2,006 Star Shards, you've got 20 of the generic 5-star signature stones, 250k gold slapped in there. You've also got just over 11,000 tier 5 basic fragments, a fully formed tier 2 alpha, and also a fully formed 5-star crystal as well. So also, much like previous months, if you can't do the epic variant, it has got, in my opinion, like the first 4 chapters are probably some of the easiest they have ever been in comparison to some of the other months for the nodes. So I'd say this is a fairly low-ish hanging fruit challenge for kind of like mid-game players that are looking to get through, but the completion has really never been easier. But just for, 100% exploring the first chapter, you've got all of this stuff, and yeah, chapter 2, as well as all that stuff we covered. You've also got 7 tier 2 alpha as well, a couple more tier 4 basics, a 4-star generic awakening gem. So yeah, there is just so much on offer, and also another 4-star kind of class gem buried in here as well. There's honestly just a ridiculous amount of stuff for this challenge, man, and I'm so happy. I think they've really nailed the rewards with their first epic / uncollected level of difficulty. But anyway, let's talk about kind of what you need to know for this challenge. So if you're just going for the master one and not the epic, a lot of this advice will apply, but there's slightly less stuff that you need to worry about in comparison. It's just going to be a little bit easier comparatively speaking, but we're going to explain it at kind of the maximum difficulty, and then yeah, there's going to be a few bits and bobs missing from earlier difficulties that you don't need to worry about, but kind of a lot of the advice and matchup recommendations do kind of remain the same amongst lower difficulties as well. So just keep that one in mind. So essentially, the final chapter, and this is only for the final chapter as well, you need to do every single path in one run. So unlike the previous 4 chapters where you can kind of port and take it lane by lane, the final chapter you need to do absolutely everything in a single run. So this means 6 lanes total, 6 rounds of Magik, Hyperion, Iceman, Void, Corvis. But I think the very lucky thing is now that a lot of counters do exist, some of these champions, none of the fights have anything overly special. I think the biggest pain in the ass for a lot of people is probably going to be Hyperion. Now, before we get into some of the fight breakdowns and best champions, let's talk about the global nodes that you're going to have to deal with. So we've got 2 brand new ones, which one of them works against you, one of them works in your favor, but can also work against you as well. So the first one is handicap match. Basically, your special attacks, critical hits, and damage over time effects do 50% less damage to the defender, but also all special attacks, so this is the special attacks dealt by you, but also the defender as well, are going to receive an increased 2.5% damage for each hit that you have on the attacker combo meter. So basically, as your combo goes up and up and up, your special attack damage is just going to go through the roof and be absolutely ridiculous to kind of make up for some of the gimped, like, general damage output that you have. However, bear in mind, again, as I said, man, this also applies to the defender, so if you are blocking certain special attacks, you are going to take a ridiculous amount of damage. So, before you start recommendations, again, I've got 5 of them, be aware that you need to fully complete all 6 paths in one run. You're going to have to go the full mile for this, so make sure you're prepared. Be confident at fully evading both the Special 1 and Special 2 of all 5 of the champions, and you've got plenty of time to practice in the first few chapters as you do that 100% before. You want to build a solid team that has counters mainly to Magik, Iceman, Hyperion, Void, and make sure you have an option for the champion as well. But the champion is a very easy fight to deal with, in my opinion, so it's mainly making sure The other good option for Magik, Iceman, Hyperion, and Void. Have a healthy stash of revives and units, and or units at the ready to use just in case. And be aware that on the final 2 or 3 paths are a great time to pop the 20 to 30% boost, because the ones that we are showing you are the hardest paths, man. The absolute hardest ones. Again, they're going to start fairly easier over here, so you do have time to kind of ramp up certain characters that might need it, if you possibly want to go for those options. But we're going to, you know, go on the scenario of the absolute hardest ones here to give you a very good idea of how to deal with some of the fights. So champion recommendations, overall ones that I think just absolute MVP for this. You've got Blade, ideally with the Ghost Rider synergy to take down both Magik, but also extend to Void as well. Magik is great for fighting Magik, Hyperion, and the final boss, the champion. Ghost can be used against Iceman, Void, and also Hyperion. Archangel can be great for Magik and Void. Symbiote Supreme can be very, very good for Hyperion and the champion. That's what I use to dispatch of all the Hyperions. I think Aegon could be really, really good against all the Icemen once you get that combo over 100 and you start shrugging off, you know, all the debuffs on any critical hit there. Get rid of Cold Snap very, very easily there. Same story with Void, removing the debuffs there. And Deep Magics, if you get to the 300 combo, then you can get the ability accuracy reduction as well. So Aegon definitely has a bit of potential here if you are a big fan of the champion. And Corvis for Iceman as well, because you probably, you know, it's kind of finding those champions to avoid as much fun and interactive damage as possible. It's kind of the big theme of this one. So those are champions that I think overall some of the big MVPs, some of the big performers of this challenge. But I think there are a lot of characters that, you know, on certain fights are going to put in a lot of work. So when it comes to the first Magik, let's have a quick look at the nodes on this one. There's nothing really to worry about. Basically, don't get hit by Magik. That's the number one rule of this one, and then you don't have to worry about getting pretty much power locked there. So don't get hit by Magik, and have a champion that can counter Magik. So again, some of the best Magik counters: Blade, Magik, Archangel, Gladiator Hulk, Aegon above 300 hits, Dr. Voodoo with a power drain, Quake if you're a super sick player there, Ghost Rider if you can power lock and also regenerate, Hawkeye, Dr. Octopus, Dormammu. So there are, you know, tons of great Magik options out there, just to kind of throw a few of what I believe to be some of the best out there. But also, if I am missing kind of any champions that were massive MVPs for you or really, really good, please do let me know in the comment section below, because I've tried to chuck as much information as I can here together. But you know, when making big lists like this, generally you tend to miss like 1 or 2 champions that might be a really, really good option for some people. And then after Magik, you have the Hyperion, and the nodes are going to be exactly the same for every single variant of these characters as you progress through. The Hyperion, again, is probably the biggest pain in the ass for a lot of people. He's got 50% power gain. The Special 2 is unblockable, which really isn't too much of a problem, but he's also stun immune. So stun immune power gain Hyperion can be a bit of a pain in the ass. So ideally, you do want some good power control there. Symbiote Supreme can be great for just rinsing this dude down really, really quickly. Magik, absolute MVP with a power lock. Dr. Voodoo, Dr. Octopus have great power control there. Void, you can give the power gain even further. Hawkeye, you've got the special 1 power drain. Ghost, you can dash back and completely phase the special 3 damage. Luke Cage, you've got exhaustion and also the ability to tank special freeze. And then Dormammu, Vision, and Rogue, they have somewhat lower damage, but all good, pretty good power control mechanics there to potentially deal with those super fun Hyperions. And then the third challenge, ladies and gentlemen, is getting through all of these friggin' Icemen. So Iceman doesn't really have anything that's super special. You've just really got to worry about the Cold Snap. He's got a bit more crit, so if he hits you, he's going to hit very, very hard. And he's going to start the fight with Pessimist as well, which doesn't really do much, just Fury, armor up, and health steal there above 75%, so don't get hit. So for Iceman, some incredible options can be that are immune to Cold Snap. You've got Sabretooth, Corvus Glaive, you've got Ghost, you've got Emma Frost as well. You also have Iron Man Infinity War, who's immune to Cold Snap. If you've got a really stacked version of Stark and Spider-Man and a few health potions, he can be really, really great for fighting Iceman. Like, that's just what I used in my run. Fairly straightforward there. And then Aegon and Bishop, and I feel like I'm missing like 1 or 2 more counters to Iceman there, but those are a few ones. But essentially you can use like any stacked character that has a really big old health pool for this fight. If you have the potions and revives and want to kind of spend the money on that, or farm revives in Realm of Legends, for example. But just be prepared that you are going to have to fight 6 Icemen, and that is quite a bit of cold snap damage there. And then, what is it? Finally, kind of the one to worry about after that is Void. So Void is always going to start with 2 bars of power. His debuff effects are going to last 100% longer, which doesn't really matter too much unless you get hit. And if he reaches a special 3, you're going to be instantly KO'd. Void, the tactic is just learn how to avoid the specials and play around Void very, very well so that, you know, you're not getting any of the debuffs. And he becomes really, really straightforward, especially if you've got Blade Man. Very, very easy fight to deal with. If not, Archangel Domino can be very good for her kind of additional hits that she has on the combo. Corvis Glaive, Hyperion, Ghost, Spider-Man Stark Enhance, Gwenpool, anyone with a lot of damage or hits really, and also Aegon as well. I forgot to add him to the list on the little document here. But really, like, a lot of options work for Void. You just need to be good at playing around him, and you have a lot of time to, you know, practice in like the 3rd and 4th chapter as well. So make that practice count, ladies and gentlemen. That's pretty much the one there. And Corvis. So Corvis is a bit of a pain, but you don't really need to bring anybody super specific for Corvis. You just need to be aware that he has Limber, Unblockable Special 2, and Cornered 300%, and you just need to know how to avoid Corvis's special attacks and then get the after. They're very, very straightforward to do. And again, if you want to see like me evading any of these special attacks and just like dealing with all of these paths, you can just look up the 100% live stream that we did on the very first day of Epic, which a link to it will be in the comment section below and also the description of this video if you want to see practically how to deal with that. But yeah, Corvus, very, very straightforward. Just got Limber. You ideally want to avoid putting bleeds on him, but it's not bad to push him to the special too. So maybe some scenarios you want to debuff him, but just be aware that he will have beyond insane power gain when he is under the effect of any debuff there. So just keep that one in mind, but just bring kind of like your top damage output champion and you're going to have a pretty easy time with Corvus. So that's it. That is the absolute hardest path there, and you just need to, you know, essentially do that, kind of scaling upwards 6 times, and then you are on to the champion, ladies and gentlemen, who is really, really easy in my opinion. Like, he's not really too much of a problem. I think he's actually much easier than the one in Uncollected, at least in my opinion, just because he doesn't start with 2 persistent charges, so he's not going to gain any stacks of fury for the first 2 times that he activates his kind of primal fury unstoppable. So he's not going to gain unstoppable for the first 2 times he activates that. So yeah, very, very straightforward. He's going to start with 1 bar of power. You can just bait the special 1, but be aware that when the champion has at least 3 active fury buffs, he is going to activate an indestructible buff, which is going to ignore all incoming damage. So you want to make sure you bring at least 1 champion that can nullify. So Symbiote Supreme, Magik, just any character at all that has some form of nullify ability. Again, there are plenty of options, and I'm sure, you know, you've probably been quite a few this month in terms of like Uncollected, but you certainly don't want to get to the champion and have him become permanently indestructible, because that would be a very, very bad time. So make sure you bring a Magik, Symbiote Supreme, Dr. Voodoo, a Morningstar, a Scarlet Witch, a Hood, a Loki, a Venom. There are many, many options to deal with this fight. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. It's done. You've got your 2006 Star Shards, you got your 5-star Crystal, your Tier 2 Alpha, like all the other rewards on top of it, a big chunk. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this this first debut of an epic level challenge. I thought it was quite fun. It was quite straightforward to do for a lot of kind of established endgame rosters, but bear in mind, you know, this is kind of meant for people that are on that kind of Uncollected difficulty, and I think if you are clearing Uncollected 100% every single month, this will be a good challenge for you. It'll kind of be around the level of what you are used to and expect in terms of Uncollected, but again, it kind of does depend on you having specific champions ideally to get through certain matchups, a lot of which have been, you know, recently available in Arena. So always make sure, you know, you're looking out for that important utility when new characters come up, and get Ghost, because she can deal with pretty much everything, guys, when her Arena comes around. So make sure you pick up one of those for future challenges if needed. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. Hopefully this tips and tricks video helped you out today. If it did, feel free to smash that like button. That'd be greatly appreciated. Share it with your alliance, man. Don't have them spending units, kind of wasting units on this. Make sure they are prepared to go in. But aside from that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.